What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with freakXshadow. Castle was 18, so we will jump into it on my archer. Pretty much the only person that I jump into castles at the moment because I don't have anyone else leveled up. Alright, so we have one of these, the fire theme. Don't normally see it all that much. Lots of jelly walls. It looks like it might be... It's almost similar to the setup that I used to use, but it doesn't have peat poundmores in the end. It has something different. So, very similar to what I used to use. I still have the same room as my first, I just don't have as many jelly walls anymore. Because I find just better things to use my points for. So let's see how this works. It looks like, you know, I mean, we'll have to see the entire castle because... currently, it doesn't really seem like there's much reason for me to backtrack into here. Peat poundmores, archers tend to have to kite them backwards quite a bit, especially if you have 3 of them. So the idea was that, you know, you are kiting them backwards through this jelly walls, which makes it harder for you to escape, take more damage, and then the peat poundmores are able to charge through it and back up and stuff like that to regenerate. So we'll have to see if there's any reason for me to back up through these jelly walls. If there's not, it's probably not the best to have a ton of jelly walls everywhere. Like, there's probably better things that you could spend your points on. Maybe spike traps, or something like that to make me take a little extra damage. Ballistic traps, anything like that. I mean, this is a lot of points to invest into. That's the main thing. Alright, and then we have Count Nottingham up here. I'm going to drop the volley. So now here is where I would probably want to pull back if I was wanting to do this safely. I would want to pull back so that the boss room, kind of the entire thing, gets kited outwards instead. From my experience recently, though, it hasn't been... Like, boss rooms have gotten quite a bit easier lately. And you can kind of just go to the back of them where there's no traps and just kind of kill them all. If I select the right skill. There we go. And this is the reason, is because once you use all of those jelly walls and everything, you only have enough points for 4 Zeeks, which isn't really all that much, especially if there's no Defendatrons or anything. If you want to make this, well, there were a couple Defendatrons, I killed them all with volley, so that won't happen if you don't go up against someone who's higher level than you. You know, I'm 4 or 5 levels higher than you. I don't remember what your castle level was, but I know I was quite a bit higher. So that won't happen as much with lower level people, so this might work a little bit better against other people. Other than that, I mean, the whole boss room approach like this hasn't really been working all that much lately because of the nerf, so you'll probably want to go towards, you know, 2 different groups, which you already have 2 different groups, but you could put in maybe a few more diversified, you know, monsters rather than just Stairmasters as your first group. Nothing really wrong with Stairmasters, but and I understand what you're going for with the teleportation. That could be really annoying against a knight. Like, a knight will have a lot more trouble dealing with that than an archer will, because he has to try to run through the jelly walls to be able to try to chase down those teleporting Stairmasters, which is crazy. I'm sure your castle does quite good against knights, but against archers they can just volley it and then they can clean them up with just auto attacks wherever. But yeah, not too bad of a castle. We'll jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up we have Curayo, castle level 19. Let's see what he's got in here.
Those monsters won't know what hit them.
Alright, ballista traps. Looks like there might be a small dead zone right here. Not a big deal. Bunch of those spike springboard traps. I think that the Arctic theme is one of the easier ones to spot these things. It just seems like there's all this rigid snow and like clumps and stuff, and then the springboards are just flat, and it's really easy for me to spot them. I don't know about other people, but like the wood background seems like the hardest for me to spot them in, and the snow background seems like the easiest. Now, something about under level 22 springboard traps is it's quite easy to just kind of trigger them and then trigger the next, and I messed it up, of course, but it's kind of easy to just sit here and trigger them across. And if you get good at it, which I tend to just leap over them because I'm already, you know, fighting level 22 castles where you can't do that nearly as easily. But there is something about like lower level castles, if you're having problems with fire mines, you can get good at kind of just kiting across these things, wait for it to come up, and then kite the next one, step back, wait for it to come up, go to the next, you know, and do that sort of thing. Alright, now, let's see, how am I going to actually trigger this? It looks like I want to headshot this Zeke to trigger it, because for one, that might not trigger the entire group, and for two, it'll kill off one of the Zekes. And then I want to, obviously, try to volley in between the Robo-Shieldatron, although the Robo-Shieldatron de-aggroed, so it made it a lot easier for me. And that's just the problem with the hard cap in these boss rooms nowadays, is, you know, sometimes the mob that you really want to not de-aggro ends up being the one that hard caps the group, like that Robo-Shieldatron, and then your AoE goes away, and then you just lose all of your Zekes really easily. Which is the reason why this type of setup doesn't really work nearly as well as it used to.
You guys are pathetic.
But it's one of the only things you can do to get some kills sub level 22 in my opinion. Like, that used to be the way to get kills, because, I don't know, I want to say that that's the only way, but I mean, there are so many options that there are other things you can do, and I'm sure there's difficult castles at level, you know, 16 and above to level 22. It's just, creatures don't combo nearly as well as they used to. You know, back before they nerfed Hungerbots and all, like the speed of Hungerbots hook and all of that sort of thing, there used to be a lot more that you could do. Like, I wish they would bring some of that stuff back. If they just increased Hungerbots' speed of their hook, you could see a lot of other things come back. You could see, you know, the purple Stairmasters that are now useless could come back because that used to combo really well with each other. And you could do some neat things like springboard traps into a Hungerbot and Stairmaster combo and pull them into it, or something like that. I mean, it would be kind of cool to see what people could come up with. And I wish they would bring back a lot of those support units. You know, the stun on Cyclops has got nerfed. I wish they would bring that back up and stuff like that, because the support units was what made some of the other units viable, you know? Or at least the other specializations on certain units. But either way, we are on, let's see, what are we on? Number 2, so we're going to go into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and lastly we have Any Name 2, cast level 17. So again, I mean, I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of mobs in the boss room when I go into castles at these levels, because there's not much else you can do. It looks like this one's a little bit different. We have kind of a setup that I used to use, more jelly walls than I used to use though, a lot of jelly walls. Something interesting about jelly walls is if I'm in practice mode right now, but if you just walk into a jelly wall, you'll get experience for it. The same reason is why like loot randomly falls on the ground for those. Alright, so we have some Pete Poundmores up here like I used to use. The hard cap has actually nerfed this quite a bit, and it's the reason why I changed it specifically. Because even if I attack this one Pete Poundmore, he won't attack me back. And so that's one of your, that's like a third of your DPS gone if you end up aggroing the entire thing. It's still okay. I mean, it still took me down to half health or so. And I'm, you know, obviously over leveled and stuff like that. So it's still an okay setup to use, and if you're getting good results, I would say keep using it. But for me personally, my results went down quite a bit when the hard cap hit and went into effect. Alright, so it looks like some fire mines over here. Let's see if I can just jump over them. The fire mines, for the most part, you have to force them to really make them work. The spike traps here are pretty easily avoidable, but let's see how exactly it works with everything else. It looks like another big spike trap, fire mine setup back there. So I'm going to, well, mess up. That's what I'm mostly going to do, because I'm really bad at using this ability. But either way, I mean, the fire mine setup gets a lot better at level 22 in my opinion. I guess if you can use it and it works to at least some effect for you, if it gets kills maybe a third to half of the time or something like that, I guess it's still worth using at the lower levels. I'm using it now and I don't have my level 22 upgrade. Basically the upgrade you're looking for is the springboard trap upgrade to whatever level it is, like the next level, because it makes the board actually fling a little bit quicker. The delay is a lot less, so it makes it so that you can't just kite across them as easily. That's the main thing for it. It's a pretty good time for your castle. It's not too bad for your level, at least. I wouldn't have trouble actually getting through it, but I think other people at your level should have at least some trouble getting through it. You should be able to get, 2 stars most of the time when people are getting through your castle, which is pretty good. But that is number 3, so we're going to end the video here. As always, if you guys enjoy what I do, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of Eurocast, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. Level 16 minimum requirement. And that is pretty much it. We're going to have some defense videos in the works over the next couple of days. I'm still just waiting to get my next couple of upgrades. I need like 130,000 gold, and then I need a couple thousand life force to actually upgrade the necessary things in my castle, and then I'll revalidate it, and I'll just sit there for a day or something and just gather replays by removing my shield. Because pretty much after you remove your shield, you get 5 or 6 attacks within the hour, so it's going to be a lot easier for me to get replays for it. But from watching my replays already, I'm thinking that it'll do pretty well at level 22. So be looking forward to that, and then also I'll do a different one at level 24, but that'll also take me like a week to a week and a half to actually gather up the life force and gold requirements. Unless something changes where I can actually gather gold and life force quicker. But that's going to be the end of this video, so thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.